Righto guys, back to it. So it's literally only been a couple of minutes. I mean, maximum 5 minutes. So especially when you put a coat on so thin, you really don't need to leave it for that long. Still being a bit careful that you're not pressing too hard on it. You don't want to go and tear it, you know. You can tear those 1K primers pretty easy, especially when they're fresh. Alright, that's it. That's a quick scuff. That's all that's gonna need. That won't even need another prep sole. It will be fine. Yeah, I've been thinking about all this jealousy that I see around with people these days, and it's like, man, don't compare yourself to anybody else. Just, you got to look at your own self and say, am I happy? And if you're not happy, do what it takes to be happy. You know what I mean? Happy with what you're doing, and I don't know, finding a fulfilling life and all that. Because if you think about it, like the lives that we get to live nowadays are so bountiful, and we're the most rich, and we're the best that humans have ever had it. Like, you go back 150 or 200 years, man, life sucks for everybody, you know what I mean? So yeah, okay, there might be somebody else out there who's got an extra car than you, or a bloody a Lexus and you're driving your bloody Toyota, or whatever it be. But I don't know, man, I guess maybe it's partly because we were never that rich when I was growing up, compared to the average here in Australia. Now, you compare that to where my wife grew up over there in Laos, mate, we were stinking rich, we were living like kings, you know what I mean? So I guess people just got to look at things and put them into perspective. And I think that actually growing up not that rich compared actually can help you, you know what I mean? Whereas, I don't know, maybe some of the middle class people, like, they always want more and more and more. I don't know the answers to everything, but all I know is I'm not jealous of anybody, mate. Yeah, like I was saying this to my wife only like 2 days ago. I'm like, man, with all the jealous people, like, you could tell or you could offer me to swap with Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, and I could be like the richest person in the world, you know? Or why not? I wouldn't trade it, man. And you know what I said to her? I said, because I wouldn't be with you, you know? And I mean, I'm happy with who I am and where I am in life, so I have no reason, I have no need to be jealous of anybody, you know? So that's what, I don't know, that's what my point I'm trying to get at is that, like, if you're jealous of somebody, that's you, like, that's nothing about the person that you're jealous of. That's you, that's inside you know what I mean? Like, and you need to fix that. Don't be an asshole to that person you're jealous of, you know? Like, just ask yourself, why are you jealous? Like, what do you need to fix in your life to make yourself happy enough that you wouldn't be jealous? Because I can't do anything. Like, I'm not going around rubbing my success in your face, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. People, they're strange. That red is actually covering very well, especially well over that light grey primer. I'm pretty impressed with that. Looking good. Loving that DV1, baby. Loving it. I'm very glad I got it. And that's one that's definitely not going to get sold. The DV1S, that is. Spot repair gun. And yeah, look, just to let you guys know, I know I don't always answer the comments, but I always read them. I do always read them. And yeah, I mean, I wish I could get back to everybody, but obviously there's only one of me, and when I'm not sleeping, I'm going in home and eating and spending time with my family, you know, my wife and my daughter, so that's, you've got to understand that, like, there's only one of me. I had one guy try to lecture me on my main channel how he's like, oh, the Gunman's an arsehole because he never replies to the comments. I'm like, dude, pull your bloody head in, man. Like, he thinks that because he watches my videos that he's entitled to a reply to every comment that he makes, and it's like, well, my task as a YouTuber is to fix everybody's problems, you know. Oh no, the whole idea for me is that I set out years ago, I kind of forgot about it, to be honest, for a long time, but I set out years ago to answer everybody's comments in a video, you know what I mean? That was my goal for a while, if you know what I mean. Oh yeah, I forgot to turn the camera off in between coats. Hopefully I was able to keep you interested in watching paint dry, but I might turn you off this time. I might be pushing it. Alright, so time for the top coat, or the intercoat I guess you call it. I've got to clean this gun out, just give it a quick flush through. That's all you need, to be honest. I mean, especially we're going red to red, so it's not going to be able to change it that much, even if there is like a very slight amount in there. Again, we'll give it a bit of a flush through like that. And I found most of the time, like, I don't know, around that 2 bar mark, maybe a bit above. And 2 coats. 2 coats is what I'm looking at with this. I did my spray out, and I think I mentioned it before, but this colour was actually pretty bad when I was off the machine, so it did need a fair bit of tinting. It was like really orange, really orange. Strange thing about that is that the spray out card was good, so obviously I didn't trust that it was good enough to just mix some paint, and I'm glad that I didn't, because that would have been a disaster. But here we are. But yeah, 2 nice wet coats. That's what I'm looking for. And a little bit more through there. We'll dry that down, put another coat on, and then I'll be mixing up some clear. Alright, time for that last coat. So I was going to mention something, like a bit of a follow up to what I was talking about in yesterday's video. So I was talking about the shaded sandable primers, and the PPG rep came out today, and he was really cool, really cool about it. The funniest thing that he said was, because I use the wet on wet, like black wet on wet, G7 shaded wet on wet, as a sandable primer, right? On the computer and the technical data sheet, it says sanding mode, right? It says sanding mode, and then it says high build mode, like high build primer mode, you know. And I'm like, man, what the hell? Why is it not drying? And he goes, oh, that's not meant to be a sandable primer. And the funniest thing he said, he's like, oh, I did the same thing. I did the same thing with the white primer, thinking that you could use it as a sandable primer. So, I mean, yeah, he was cool, man. He's like, man, I think he took a photo and he's like, yeah, you're right. They need to update that data sheet to say, like, don't use this as a sandable primer. We're going to call it high build mode. We're going to put it down on the computer as sanding mode. But yeah, anyway, it was cool. It was good to see that. Alright, back to it guys. So I think we might have missed either all of or half of that last coat of ground coat. I think the battery fell out. So yeah, I actually ended up giving that a bake out. I baked it for like 10 minutes. As you can see here, I actually checked that colour because from as it sits at the moment, it kind of looks quite dark, but I peeled the masking off and it didn't look too bad. So we'll continue on. Anyway, what I did mention in that in the footage that I lost, as a follow-up to something I was saying yesterday about like the dark primers, so I primed up this full respray in using the wet on wet, but there's a mode called it's called sanding mode, right? So most normal people would think sanding mode means when you're meant to sand it. And the other thing that it says is high build mode. You would think high build mode means, you know, high build primer, but it doesn't. So basically what I was saying is that I spoke to the PPG rep, and the funniest part about the whole thing is that he's like, man, I've done exactly the same thing. I did that. So it kind of made me feel not so bad. But yeah, it's very poorly worded on the technical data sheet. Because as far as I was concerned, I'm like, man, I did everything right, you know? I read it and I thought I was doing the right thing. But ultimately, I got a respray out there with wet on wet primer on it. What we ended up doing is just we just baked it out with the light. So all it was doing is it was staying very sticky, you know. So we just got the infrared lights on every single section. It's taken like 2 days, but yeah, just put the lights on like for an hour on every single section. And it's looking like it's going to be drying up. But either way, we're going to leave it for a few more days anyway, because I think the owner's not in a hurry for it. But hey, I learned something that, yeah, PPG wet on wet is only used for wet on wet. But because in saying that, like, there are some paint lines that you can put like non-sanding converter in there. There are some like Cyrox. You can use that Cyrox primer as a sandable primer or a non-sanding primer. So when I saw on their system that it says sanding mode, oh well, what would you think? It's like a sandable primer. But hey, I was wrong and I learned something. But as it turns out, here in Australia, they've only got the one. They've got the one light grade primer, which is strange. Anyway, I'll stop rambling and I'm going to give that a few minutes until I put the second coat on. See you soon. Rightio guys, so it's time for our last coat of clear. You may have noticed I actually cranked that pressure up, so we're looking at 40 psi. You don't have to, but you can. It's got a nice size fan on it, but I've actually pinched that fan up. I find that the DV1S, the fan is actually too big on full fan. So I ended up putting the 1mm back on. I found that the 1.2 was a little bit excessive for this gun here. I got a 1mm and then, what was it, I think it was S1 was the air cap. Where is it? Yes, S1. So one good thing about this gun is that they give you 2 fluid tips with it, so I'm like, hey, that's a bit of value added, you know what I mean? I know that the gun is a little bit expensive, so if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Nothing wrong with the old R150, but if you want something a little bit better, here it is. Here's the R150. R160. Yeah, this fade out thinner, man, it's serviceable, but that's about it. It doesn't seem to melt it in as nicely as the AK350. I hear Gunny is bitching about the bloody PPG again. No, as I say, like, everything with PPG, like, it's serviceable. So it's like, it does the job. It gets you through, you know what I mean? But it's not like, I don't know, there's not many things. There's a couple. I mean, I do actually like their wet on wet. As long as you don't use it as a sandable primer, it's all good. But yeah, I don't know, there's nothing that, to me, it's like stands out as like, well, not many things. Like, as I say, their wet on wet's good, but I don't know, there's not many of their products that I'm like, oh, that's the best there is, you know what I mean? Whereas, I don't know, with like some of the stand-off products, you'd be like, yeah, no, that's like the best you can get, you know what I mean? As I say, like the cleaners and primers, they're fine. With the PPG, the base coat, it's alright, you know, but yeah, it's not like, wow, that stuff's so amazing. Yeah, you can do some great work with it, you know. Yeah, I'll probably shut up now anyway. We're just about done on this job. Actually, the right gun for this job too, because you can get runs in there if you're not careful. So that was actually quite handy to use on that. Anyway, I'll give you guys a close-up look at the gun and the job. I'll pull you out of the case here. Bear with me for 1 second. Sorry about the missed footage of the second coat. Either way, that's the DB1S 1.2. Put you back up there for a minute and then have a look at the job. Yeah boy, looking good, looking good. We'll bust that blend out in the morning, and this is going to go back on the used car lot, no doubt. So yeah, it was pretty banged up around this corner. There was a big dent there. We fixed one at the start of this video, so I think we did the right thing by fixing that one, you know. Takes the eye off it, and looks all good, man, looking all good. It's a beautiful colour though, isn't it? I like it, I like it. Anyway guys, until next time, get out there and paint some shit. And if you want to support the show, go get yourself a Gunman spray suit. Alright, see you in the next one. Woo!